everyone. So today we're gonna talk about the Law of One Tarot, of course, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you some of my experiences and how I've been using the cards, specifically the Hermit today. So the way I've been using the cards mainly is, now you have to remember that I've kind of been playing around with the cards for the last 7 years. And when I say playing around with the cards, I mean I have these cards posted around my house. And so I look at them even when I'm not thinking anything. Like I have them posted in the area where I work. And sometimes when I'm just visualizing something, I'm just kind of staring at the cards, but not thinking of the cards. I'm just kind of like gazing at them. And what started happening with that was when I began to just kind of gaze at them, even though I wasn't thinking about the cards, whatever it was that I was thinking about, I started visualizing it with whatever card that my vision went to. And that happened completely unconsciously for me. And I didn't become conscious of it until I realized, like, holy shit, my thought pattern, or whatever it is that I'm thinking about this particular subject or topic, I'm actually solving the problem through the specific card that my gaze goes to. That's how it started for me. And then for 7 years or so, I just I kind of kept doing that to the point where now what happens is I'm actually able to visualize, and especially when I have a problem to be solved, I normally visualize kind of the problem and the characters that are within whatever issue it is that I'm facing, and I kind of can see the major arcana come through because these are all archetypes, right? Like I can kind of feel the energies of the different archetypes come through in a way where I can see the shadows of the archetype, which is all me. Like when these archetypes come through, they're a reflection of me. And I can see what the shadows are in my vision. And then I then am able to make a conscious effort to release and reduce those shadows by doing the opposite. I hope this kind of makes sense, but that is it's basically it. That's just how I've used the Law of One Tarot, and it's literally been in my sight for years. And the Law of One Tarot, the archetypes being in my vision, these two eyes, started stimulating the vision in the third eye through imagination. And from this imagination, I got to feel the shadows of whichever archetype that it was that was in my belief system that was repressing me because it was causing me suffering. And then I basically just did the opposite. Now, let's talk about the Hermit. Hopefully this will make more sense, and I'm going to try and not make this such a long vlog. So if you look at the Hermit here, right? The Hermit is the potentiator, which is second density, and it is of the body complex. So the Hermit is potentiator body complex. And the potentiator, in my mind, is basically the subconscious mind. Okay? And I might be wrong. I always say that. I don't know. This is just my experience with this Hermit. So the potentiator of the body complex, to me, means, and I learned this after a long time, the Hermit was the hardest one for me to work with, and I understood why. So if you look at the Hermit of the body complex, and let me just explain to you that when I say I feel like it's the subconscious mind, so the second dimension is the dimension that connects two lines with a third line. Okay, so this is where your basic geometry begins to get shaped. So when you're still in your spirit phase, so when you're still energy and you're kind of coming into a body, you begin through, the universe's mentalism, right? So through your thought as a spirit complex, so as vibration, right? The spirit complex is vibration. So as vibration, through the soul, through the mind complex, which is soul, which is energy, you begin to form your blueprint of how you want to live your life. Now, this blueprint, even before you choose that mother's womb and the egg is inseminated and it turns into a Vesica Pisces into 2 eggs, even before that happens, you've already started the process of imprinting. And within the sacred geometry of that the geometry of that Vesica Pisces is this guy right here. Your subconscious mind and what you want as a spirit complex through the soul, through thought, you already started imprinting the geometry, and the geometry is what you live in this life. That is the energetic vibration that creates in which the frequency you will be living in. And I explained protons, electrons, neutrons, energy, vibration, and frequency in the last vlog, and how I related it to the Law of One Tarot, so you can go watch that. I'm not really going to talk about it in this vlog. So you come in with a specific frequency. And most of us, because this planet, mainly 3D, third dimension, it's cause and effect, it's catalyst, and a lot of it is for us to get through and break through the suffering. We come here to go through immense suffering with whatever the blueprint of the spirit complex is in second dimension. So you're already, as you become a fetus, through geometry, these 2 circles then become 3, and the egg starts splitting. You start to form in the form of a body within your mother's womb. So these imprints come with you. Now, here's the kicker. Not only do the imprints that you form through mentalism, through your soul, when you're still energy, when you're still light, but now, when you're in your mother's womb, the reason you picked this mother is because through sound vibration of her organs, which are held within the water of the womb, and sound vibration is her spirit. Remember, the spirit complex is sound, it is vibration, it is breath. Her inhale, your mother's inhale while you were in the womb, the inhale is spirit. It's activated through intake of oxygen, out goes the carbon dioxide, right? You are now also taking on her fears, anxieties, suffering. So now you've doubled down, but this is why we pick our parents. And I finally came to realize, and I might be wrong, but the way I use this card, this Hermit card, is who we are talking about. If you look at this Hermit card, he is so heavily cloaked and dressed, and his face is like, he's got a turban, and on that turban he has a DNA strand. Here he's holding a staff with a snake head, and the snake head is, I'm going to say, kind of in between his solar plexus and his heart chakra, which to me means ego. And then there's like this 2 little, I don't know what they are. They look like peppers to me. They might be yin and yang. They might be the balance that this guy needs. I don't know. I have no idea. So to me, what I've come to realize, or how I use the Hermit card, is he had to drop his staff, and he had to put his staff on the snake on his crown. And this is all in my vision, right? Kind of like right here, how she has it on the crown here, because that is the higher mind. And to be honest with you, there's no such thing as lower mind and higher mind. It's just when you begin to recognize and become more informed of your thoughts. That's what it is. Without emotion. So this guy here has created emotion within your organs, because all of your emotions, I have great respect for the endocrine system. And the reason you want to keep your body more alkaline is because the endocrine system, so the 7 spheres that we call chakras are nothing. The projection of the vibration that goes out into the ether from a chakra comes from the energy of the organ. So chakras are really, there's no chakra without the organs. And the organs I'm talking about in alignment are the 7 organs systems of the endocrine system. And these organs create emotions. So many people, all of their lives, are emotionally driven, which is a form of, to me, okay, and I don't mean any disrespect by saying this, but it's a form of unintelligence. Is that a word? Lack of intelligence. It is a form of lack. When you're emotionally driven, you're emotionally immature. Right here. And the drive comes from the organs, the projection of the drive, the vibration, which then creates the frequency, is what the energy we don't see, which is a chakra. Chakras did not come first. Your organs created the energetic points, which are nodes. It's where the energy is projected and creates where the energy vibration projection, which creates a frequency. And when you're which is then, remember, geometry, this is the second dimension. So it's basic geometry. In order for this basic geometry, so a circle, in order for a circle to become a sphere, you have to go into the 3rd dimension here. So this projection goes into 3D, and it becomes heavier, and it comes back at us. And as this now sacred geometry that we're experiencing here on Earth, it starts to materialize through the nodes, through the patterns of your thought. The more you think something, the heavier that thought is, and it makes that node within the chakras. It indents that node. So if you can visualize like a pattern like this here, like look at this. So see, there's a pattern here, right? There's a grid. There's a grid. There's a grid, and it goes this way. Pretend like this grid is the potentiator that has your basic circle in it. Let's just say it's got a circle. Now that thought that is a circle is already imprinted into your organs, right? Because these are the fears and these are the situations and scenarios that your spirit complex wants to transform. It's all about evolution for your spirit. So if your thought within this circle is of constant lack and fear, constant, what's going to happen is it's going to go into the mind complex, the empress, which is the catalyst of the mind, which is your soul. Your soul is energy. So now what you're doing is you are giving that circle, the body complex is creating the emotion. The higher the emotion of lack, and you may not even know you hold this emotion. It might be hidden in the layers of tissue, so hidden in your muscles or organs or lymphatic tissue. I feel like the organs are more your unconscious mind anyway, because of the imprint from the spirit complex before you even divide into into two cells. What begins to happen is this circle generates energy. The soul will start to generate that energy based on this emotion of, let's say, lack. And if you generate so much energy into this circle, it's going to get heavier. See how she's holding that sphere? Yeah? Do you notice there is no sphere here whatsoever? There's a DNA strand, but there's no sphere. And do you notice here how she's holding on to that sphere tight? She's cupping it. She's cupping the sphere. Why is that important? The sphere has now become heavy. Now and it's through your own thought. The thought pattern that you're thinking that is making it heavy is the emperor. It's the pattern that you're forming. Notice him, he's still holding the sphere, but he is now holding it. 2 fingers and a thumb. Because it's formed a pattern. This pattern and this sphere, you may be completely unconscious of it. He seems pretty unconscious to me. And if you're unconscious of whatever belief it is that your spirit complex came in with, and then you got more imprints through your mother, her vibration, her womb, you may be completely unaware of what this underlying belief that is causing you suffering in your life has become. You'll be unaware of it, maybe. Once you become aware of it, it's not a pattern anymore. So that's what a pattern, this is time in the mind complex. Time. It becomes a constant experience for you of, here we go again, suffering. Until you recognize it, until you put eyes on it, the significator. The significator is paired with, right here. Sorry, it's with the Fool card. Sorry, I called it the Fool card. I hate that. This is not the Fool card. Very respectfully, this is the Choice card. The Choice is paired with the significator, mind complex, Hierophant, body complex, Hangman, spirit complex, the Sun card, right here. Once you recognize a pattern, whether you repeat that pattern or not, what are you doing? Whether you repeat that pattern or not, that's your choice. That is your choice. But that pattern is broken the minute you put eyes on it. the minute you put the Hierophant of the mind, these are your guides as well. This is where your guides are. And guess what? Your guides are just you. They're just a reflection of you. So, for example, this is a crazy story. I just have to tell you, it just happened to me. So, one of my first introductions into like goddesses and goddesses and stuff was Kuan Yin. And I remember, this is decades ago, I remember seeing this. I was at a workshop and this guy, it was about like metaphysics, and this is probably 15 years ago, more than that actually, 17. So anyways, this guy was talking about something about metaphysics, and we were just there listening, very small. There's only like 5 of us there. And I looked up and I saw this gold drawing of this beautiful woman, but I didn't know who she was. I couldn't even hear him. I was so mesmerized. And after the class, I was like, who is that? And he said it was Kuan Yin. And then I just kind of like started thinking about her and enjoying her presence. I could feel her. This is Kuan Yin here. So lately, then she kind of went away. She popped in here and there in the next 18 years or so, 15 to 18. But just recently, I've been feeling her. I've been working with her again, but now I see her as different. Now I see her, when I ask for her, for the higher mind, I ask through here. I ask through the significator. I make the choice to work with a guide, and all guides are a reflection of yourself. And that guide to me, because I'm comfortable with her image, because I've worked with her cards for a long time too, I think it's just a comfort thing, comes to me in the form of Kuan Yin through the significator, because my mind complex, the energy, the energy that I'm putting through has an image in my mind's eye. The spirit complex, the vibration is of Kuan Yin. And in all of my organs, whenever I think of her, it's a high vibration, it's care, it's compassion, it's forgiveness, it's whole, it's being wholesome. And it's just in unison and unity with the divine. So whenever I think of her in my mind's eye, the vibration, the spirit complex, me, through my breath, I'm aligning with her, the Hierophant. In order to do this, the body completely is hung upside down. The blood is rushing to my brain. Thought increases. The synapses in my brain, because they're full of compassion now, and I do it through Kuan Yin's energy, who is, to me, a guide, a master possibly, but it's also me. And this is where the union of thought, the left brain and the right brain, see the circle there, see the sphere there? The left brain and the right brain for me become balanced in the middle, and I can just, things that I never would have thought of begin to come to me in care, in compassion, in love, with myself, in unison with God, because I am God. I feel God through nothingness. You know what superabundance is? See this word? You can probably see it on the back here. I've been looking at gene keys. Superabundance. You're in a place of superabundance when you are in absolute nothingness and you're totally content. Darkness. It's black. But then you know what happens all of a sudden when you're in the superabundance? which is the great way. When you're in this superabundance, for me, what's happened all of a sudden, like I'll see, you know how dendrites in your brain are? Like imagine like a little star, right? And off that star, there's explosions of energy. And then these explosions create little lines and more stars. I begin to create. And at first, I used to think, holy, okay, these are shapes, lights. Okay, this is influencing my imprint in a positive way. I'm in the divine. The divine is me. I'm in my superabundance. And I realized that it's actually influencing through my synapses in my brain, in my body. It's changing. It's expanding my consciousness when I'm in my superabundance. That is the great way here. As above, so below. And now I forget where I was going with that. So let's go back to the Hermit. I need to reset a little bit. I said way more than I was planning on. So let's go back to the Hermit. Body complex, potentiator, second dimension. So what I began to do was and this just automatically happened. I didn't think about it. I was just kind of staring at the Hermit like, who are you? What are you? For a long time, I just didn't know, but I asked the question. And eventually, over years, this happened for me. He began to take off the layers of his robes. And I noticed under this robe, he had another one on. Then he had another one on. He had a scarf. And as he took off these layers, I began to realize that he is the emotions. And what I was doing by seeing him taking off those layers, I was actually creating new synapses in my mind, changing to a higher frequency, the energy and vibration within my organs, within my endocrine system, to a more loving, positive, transforming it through him as he took off his layers. And that's when I realized, like, holy shit, he might just be the endocrine system. He might just be those emotions that came with the blueprint, and then my mom's shit that came along with it too. And I'm transforming. See this? Transformation, body complex, death card. But look at this. What is above this skeleton? This is just so beautiful. Rainbow. As I'm taking off these layers, the emotional, the sadness, the suffering, the pain, the guilt, the shame was coming off. My frequency, see that? My frequency was increasing. Do you see? It increased right here. And see that? And then I had this vision of a connection, all my chakras, and I didn't know why this was, but it was because of the death card. I realized that way later. I had this vision of like, my chakras were super bright and colorful, kind of like Lifesavers candy. They were super bright and colorful, and they connected to the rainbow. The red connected to the red, the orange ray connected to the orange, the yellow ray connected to the yellow, to an actual rainbow. And in my mind, I'm like, where's this rainbow coming from? Like, what the hell? And it was a long time after that I realized, oh shit, it was the death card. I transformed. And what did I transform into? See, this is the body complex. Great way for the alchemist. I think in regular tarot it's called temperance. I like to call it the alchemist because now I've chemically been able to change my emotions into a higher vibration. Energetically, I've changed my emotions in my organs to a higher vibration, and then I connected with the frequency of this rainbow right here. And now I was experiencing a higher frequency, in a higher vibration. And I started saying things to myself like, I am worthy. Fuck this. Fuck everybody. I'm fucking worthy. No matter what my family says, no matter what other people say, I am worthy. And I remember this specifically. But I didn't realize that that thought to me, and it had a little bit of anger in it, for sure, but more love than anger. I'm not angry at anybody for it. I'm just telling myself, I'm fucking worthy, man. But this shit, I didn't start saying to myself until after I had this experience. And I didn't even know that that was what the experience was, but now I'm able to put it all together, because that for me was a process of inquiry, and now it is my truth. I am worthy. That's my truth. So, I hope that helps. I love you guys so much, and I will continue on enjoying the Law of One Tarot and keep going with this as much as I can. I am going to do other vlogs too, just on regular life, and without the Law of One Tarot probably, but just on regular life and how to deal with others emotionally, so that we can balance the emotions that come out of our organs. Love you guys so much. Bye.